Hi and welcome to another how-to video from Solar Gates. This one is on the INSTABOOM Go. And as you can see, I've got two set up on the bench here in front of me. And I'm just going to walk you through the options that present through the settings menu and kind of talk you through the different ways you can configure the device for use on your site. So the first thing you're going to do is turn the device on. And as you can see, it'll go through a short boot sequence, which will extend the motor to both extremes of the movement. And then depending on how the settings have been left, we'll park it halfway. A brief side note on charging, the operating window of the device is 13.5 volts down to 11.5 volts. And the voltage is shown on the indicator on the outside of the case, which also permits the charging of small USB devices. Obviously, this can have an effect on the battery standby time, so don't go charging too much. It takes 6 hours to fully charge an INSTABOOM Go using the mains charger supplied. Always charge the device with the case open and never switch the charger to the high mode. Always use the normal mode. There's a readout on the charger, and once it gets to float, the device is fully charged. Actually, another side note from me, when considering your setup, the radio remote control has a range of 250 meters from the master device. Each of the slaves communicates directly with the master device during operation to prevent that double go scenario. So consider the placement of the master device relative to the position of the slave devices and the operator to ensure that everything stays in range. Ideally, the master device will be in the middle, so it's equidistant from the slave devices and reduces the potential for any radio communications failures. And remember, during operation, the operative must maintain line of sight with all the devices. Once the boot sequence is complete, it's going to drop you to this series of screens here, which are telling you that if you've already completed the pairing process, it's ready to go live, and you can do that with the remote. But that's not what we're going to do. I'm going to now take you through all of the settings. So as you can see, it says press select to enter the setup menu. This display screen here is just cycling through all the settings that have been applied to the device already. You can click up and down through this to walk through the various pages until you get to the one that you want to progress with. In this case, we want to adjust the settings. So I'm going to push and hold the select or OK button for 3 seconds, and we're now in the settings menu. Now this is very similar to the previous, except we have the ability to change these settings. So let's just walk through what the options are. Right at the very top of the menu, here, this is asking how the sign is going to be used. In this case, it's set to stop go. If we click the select or OK button here, we can change between stop go and flagger. Now the key difference here is the flagger mode is a mode that's designed to allow the motor to turn 90 degrees rather than the full 180 for use as a small and very portable barrier. In this case, we're going to leave it set to stop go. And you can see that I just pushed the red button, the select OK button, which allows us to confirm that setting and move on to the next one. The next one down the menu tree is the mode of behavior for this logic control board. In this case, this one is set to master. If we click into this setting, we are able to cycle through the options. You can see master is highlighted here, and the alternatives are slave 1, 2, and 3. So you'll note that in this mode, many of the other options disappear as they're controlled by the master. Now, to be used in a connected setup, the INSTABOOM Go can be paired with 3 other devices up to a maximum of 4-way traffic control. So in that scenario, you would need 1 master and 3 slaves. I'm going to pop this back to master. Okay, and the final option here is the manual mode. Now the manual mode is a standalone mode which doesn't interact with other signs. So I'm not going to discuss this here. That's going to be the subject for another video. Moving on to the next menu setting, this one will display how many devices the master device is expecting to be paired with. To create a four-way traffic control scenario, you will need one master and 3 slaves. And you can see here the setting 3 has been chosen. I'm going to go into this menu and just adjust that to 1. You can see the other options are simply 2 and 3, and then it cycles back to 1. So I'm going to set up this as a 2-pair system. The next 2 settings are a safety feature and control the minimum time that the system will sit in either a stop or a go state. These are individually selectable, as you can see from the screen here. And this is to prevent accidental double presses of the remote in live usage, and also helps to smooth out the traffic control on your site. You can adjust it from 3 to 30 seconds, and once paired, you can adjust this setting on the master and then restart the system without having to completely perform the pairing process. The default delay time is 3 seconds, the minimum amount of time. The next option is to select between 2-press mode and 1-press mode. Now, 2-press mode is the default mode of operation and gives you more control over the amount of time that the system will be in a stop-stop state, or an all-stop state if you have 4, before moving to a go state. The big difference between the 2-button press and the 1-button press mode is that a single button press on the remote will rotate the currently active sign to stop, and then after the predefined minimum stop period will rotate the next chosen sign to go. It's worth noting that in this mode the minimum stop and go times are overridden from those previously selected to a minimum of 8 seconds to facilitate the necessary radio communications between the devices. You can obviously make that higher if you wish, but that sets the minimum stop-go time. It's also worth noting at this point that any button press after the button has been originally pushed will cancel the first operation. So if you feel like you've pushed the button and something hasn't happened and you push it again, you've effectively just cancelled your operation. The next mode is site prep mode. I'm a big fan of this one. This mode is explained and illustrated in another how-to video that we've produced, and it's linked below. But essentially, this allows you to switch on the signs to deploy a complex setup for your site without showing a sign face to the traffic. So the system, once booted, will hold the sign 90 degrees to the traffic flow, so the traffic flow cannot see a stop or a go face. Once you've set up all the INSTABOOM Go's in your stop-go works and you're ready to go live, with a button push on the remote, you can rotate all the signs to face traffic and start controlling from there. Simple. And that's the last setting. So we're presented with the exit option. If we click that, it will be dropped back to the settings mode. And again, cycling through to the bottom of the options allows us to make further changes if we wish, or to switch into the pairing mode once we're ready. So that's pretty much it for this video. I've prepared a second video on the actual pairing process. That's linked below, and you can watch that when you're ready. If you need any other assistance with any aspect of this or any of the products that SolarGates produces, please do get in touch.